Ah, yes, Thanksgiving, the classic American holiday. What do you think of when you think of Thanksgiving? I think of turkey and food and sitting around the table eating with my family. You know what I also think of? Pilgrims and Native Americans sitting around the table with their families, celebrating alliance and abundance. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about Thanksgiving and the historical context of it, and busting some myths as we go along. However, before we get into Thanksgiving, let's take a quick overview of the Pilgrims' journey. The Pilgrims are from England, but they left there for Holland because of the religious repression they experienced in England. They had pretty good lives in Holland, but decided to leave as they were concerned that their children would start wanting a decadent life like the Dutch, God forbid, and the threats of the 30 Years' War didn't help. So they set sail on the Mayflower in 1620 with an intended course for Manhattan, but were blown off course and ended up in Massachusetts, where they experienced famine, disease, and a harsh winter. By the time winter ended, the Pilgrims were left with 50 of the 102 people that they set sail with from Holland. The Pilgrims would have certainly perished if it weren't for a group of Native Americans who showed the Pilgrims how to interact with the land in terms of farming and hunting and how to survive. Now that we know how the Pilgrims got here and how they survived, let's bust some myths about the first Thanksgiving.
Hello and welcome back to the Mischief Corner. I am Jack as always, and today we are talking about Thanksgiving, how festive of us. Now, today's fact is about turkeys, because turkeys. The Aztecs worshipped them.
Myth number 1. The first Thanksgiving in 1621 was the start of an annual tradition. This myth is both true and false. Technically, it is the event that the national holiday is modeled after, and people celebrated it inconsistently before it was made official. But Abraham Lincoln declared it a national holiday in 1863 in the midst of the Civil War. Also, it's important to note that the Pilgrims probably wouldn't have called this holiday Thanksgiving anyways, because a day of Thanksgiving for the Pilgrims looked more like silent contemplation and prayer, whereas the first Thanksgiving, what we consider to be the first Thanksgiving, was a rowdy celebration between the Native Americans and the Pilgrims of alliance and abundance and a good harvest. Myth number 2. The menu at the first Thanksgiving included turkey, mashed potatoes, and other modern staples. While turkey was likely part of the meal, historical records are scarce, and the exact menu is unknown. Additionally, the Pilgrims are not known to have had potatoes at the time, which is a real tragedy because potatoes are delicious. Myth number 3. The relationship between Pilgrims and Native Americans was peaceful and cooperative. For the first Thanksgiving feast, this is true, as it was a peaceful gathering. Over time, however, the interactions between the Pilgrims and Native Americans became more strained due to issues like land disputes, cultural clashes, and the impact of diseases brought by the Europeans. Even though colonial Americans and Native Americans have had a rough relationship over the years, Thanksgiving is a time we can celebrate alliance and abundance, just as the Pilgrims and Native Americans did. Enjoy y'all's Thanksgiving dinner and have a great and blessed week.